Hey gang, continuing a series of videos of guides for alpha players, some of which may be relevant once the game launches. And since I've done basically the main stuff on the interface, I want to start to delve into the strategy of the game, focusing on character progression. So there's several different aspects to character progression. There's your level, as well as your Paragon level. So once you reach level 55, you'll reach Paragon levels, which are shown here. So when you first unlock Paragon, you'll have access to these two tiers of Paragons, of which only one can be active at any time. So you can see I've made the mistake of going into here to get another ability, which would only be used if I have that one active. So one thing I'll probably be doing once open releases is, rather than spending points in Vanquisher, somebody on our Discord, one of the Immortal leaders, has shared the abilities in the Treasure Hunter, and I'll probably bank points until I reach Paragon 50 to unload them all in there and activate abilities there. At some point I'll probably provide more detailed information on that, but considering it's changed a fair bit since this alpha and the last, it's not as relevant until the game actually opens and to see how those abilities work. Maybe people want to focus on what's in the gladiator or soldier tier or whatever's coming up. So there are benefits if you can essentially be underpowered for a short period of time. If you plan on using this tier the most, any points that you spend before you unlock that tier are potentially wasted. There are, of course, buffs that apply all the time, so that the starting buffs to any Paragon tier are permanent attributes, so they're not completely wasted, but these abilities which will determine which Paragon tier you have active at any given time. So I'm wanting to go Treasure Hunter, so I get better magic item drop and things like that for grinding, for late game. And once I've got the abilities that I want, then I'll be either banking points for whichever tier that I want to actually use the active abilities for, so that I can unlock them as quickly as possible. And then you can essentially just go back through the tiers, assigning future Paragon points to whatever permanent attributes you can gain that are of benefit. Here, for example, slightly useful increased inventory size. It's not really an issue in the game at this point in time, but late game, everything helps, especially when you're farming and you've got to periodically travel back to the blacksmith to empty your bag. And one thing I'm fairly confident in is that the quality of the gear that drops can be, so at the bottom it shows the required level, and you're obviously more likely to get level 55 gear after reaching level 55, whereas before that you will get, required levels much lower. So it makes sense that the higher level you are, the better gear will start to drop. A lot of things in the game, such as Monk's consumable item, can increase magical equipment found by you and nearby allies by 5%. Upgrading or ranking gemstones can also add item find, I believe at rank 5 for most gems, or all gems as far as I know. Plus with that ability from the Paragon tier, anyways, as quickly as possible, you can, once the game launches, you can increase your item find. Is going to help you in the long term as you grind and farm gear. Having better odds of dropping gear, plus having higher paragons so that the gear that is dropping is going to be higher level is important. Now there are caps on things at the moment which may change from the launch, at least what the values are or if they exist at all, such as Codex Battle Pass. So I've used all enough battle points, or I've collected enough battle points in this week, which is soon to end, so that I'm not getting any future bonuses from Codex activities. So as you'll see here, if I achieve these, I won't be gaining any more battle points until the week resets at 3 AM on Monday morning. And there is also an XP cap, which if you reach that XP cap in a week, you can no longer drop rare items, which obviously we're farming for dust. I'm not sure if that includes legendaries, but I mean, if it does, that can be pretty harsh. So if you are grinding XP to get your Paragon level up, to find better gear, knowing what that cap is and making sure you don't reach it too early in the week, because that means you'll have to gear farm later in the week. So between your level, Paragon level, there's also your gear rank, which is probably higher value. You'll get more stat increase, and we measure your stats by the offensive and defensive rating. So if you see people talking in chats or anywhere about what's your rating, they're usually referring to your offensive and defensive rating, which is a fairly good measure of how strong your character is. And that also impacts, particularly in different hell difficulties, what monsters you can beat. When your power level is not high enough, you'll also get a debuff against monsters, which will appear as a red alert in your screen here. So because you're not a recommended power level for that place, then you're actually getting a further debuff. If you see that message, click on it and it'll explain how it works. Basically, the monsters get a buff against you and you get a debuff when attacking monsters. And once your power level is high enough, I think it's around about 2700 for most Hell 3 levels, then when that warning disappears, you'll notice a considerable difference in being able to evaporate monsters and also take hits and survive. So with gear ranking, as you rank up, there are certain points which you gain extra benefits on your equipment as well, these bonuses. So once you reach level 6, you'll receive 1 bonus. 11 unlocks the second. So literally just this morning upgraded the last piece of my gear to 11 for the second bonus. And these are also how you use your Reforge skills, Reforge stones. So you can change these there. These are purchasable at the moment for Eternal Orbs, 100 each. And I'm here right next to the vendor, conveniently enough, who sells them, as you can see. And that will convert a bonus into a bonus of that family tree. And if we go to the blacksmith.
Hi there. It's good to see you again.
And go to Reforge, we can see once you get your equipment to level 16 and unlock the third bonus, that you can get a family bonus for having skills of the same tree on the same item. They don't stack for multiple items. So if I have 3 of the wildfire set on different items, you don't get the family bonus, it's on the same item. So that becomes, if you haven't done any reforging yet, it's not massively important until you sort of get to those 3. I've done a little bit of reforging, but one thing I also wanted to show is there is a way before you start spending your reforged stones or your gems on those stones to reforge, you can actually re-roll these skills. And if you have an understanding and looked into what it is that you want, it's even better to start before you get 2 bonuses, because you're re-rolling all of them through salvaging equipment and then re-upgrading. And I'll explain how that works. It's a feature that may exist purely to help alpha players. By getting content out sooner, when you salvage an item, you get all the resources you spent on that item back. So very likely that at full launch, you will get a percentage. If it's 50%, you'd be lucky, I reckon. So all the dust, all the gold is spent. So if I have, I just salvaged all my gear. So let's go identify this. Do I want to use it for? See, I don't want to re-roll those. So at some point I'll find some equipment for legs to replace, but I'll describe how it works. So when you equip an item, you can transfer its ranking, its gems automatically, which then allows you to salvage the piece of equipment that you don't want.
Glad to be of service, my friend.
And then you can re-upgrade your original piece of equipment that you do want. So I'll give an example of this without actually doing it. So if I go to inventory, I'll equip. This is not better than the one I'm currently wearing. So I equip that, transfer. So now the one I want has no rank. The one I don't want has the rank. Remove the stone. I'm pretty sure if you salvage a piece of gear with a stone in it, you will keep the stone, but I don't want to test it now. So now I can remove this and salvage it, and it will return all of the dust, gold that was spent on it. Then I can re-equip the piece of gear that I wanted, and it will have no rank. I can just simply rank that up, and the bonus abilities will re-roll as I rank it. So once I get to level 6, there'll be potentially a different bonus ability. Once I get to 11, there'll be another different bonus there. So before, if for example you wanted specific family tree bonuses, you could do this a few times, maybe get 2 of them that you want. It's probably not a good way to spend time doing that if it takes too long, but maybe you'll just get one that you want, and then you only have to spend 2 reforged stones on the others if you're trying to get a family tree bonus. Or you might just want to see what they are, so that you know what you can aim for when you start spending reforged stones. Just a little tip there. But as I mentioned, during alpha, it is very likely, during open, it's very likely that the resources will scale when you salvage an upgraded item. That's also a useful tip for people in Immortal who have the quest for upgrading gear. I mean, a simple way is obviously you just upgrade something in your inventory and then salvage it, and you will get everything you spent on that upgrade back. But even if you've already salvaged and you want to do the quest, well, I mean, you still need a piece of gear to replace the one you're equipped with to upgrade. But yeah, so don't worry about that upgrading equipment quest. Waiting till you've got enough material to upgrade what you've got. When you're at high levels, that can take a while. Just upgrade anything in your inventory, which you can only do for rare and legendary items, and then salvage it, and you get everything back anyway in the quest. So they're the two main systems for level, so to speak. There are, of course, other aspects such as gems, gemstones, sort of normal ones and legendary ones. They can also rank, so I'll quickly describe those while I prepare for the cart meta event. So these stones, I've been collecting the epic rarity. Epic rarities have a possible 5 stars. Rare have a possible 3 stars, and normal have a possible 2 stars. And the amount of stars they can have will determine what the base attribute bonus will be. For example, a 1-star epic gem will give a 70% increase of base stats. And your base stat is this stat here, which is the same for every head has damage, every chest has life, every legs has life, and so on and so forth. Originally I thought it was a buff to these stats, so now I know better. And the epic gems have by far the most increase. So a 1-star is 70%, I think it goes 80%, 90%, something like that, and 120 is the max. So there is obviously benefit. There are 6 legendary gems, and you could essentially have one of each. Their abilities don't tend to stack because there's cooldowns and things on how the frequency of the effects and things like that. And also with the magic find ranking ability, these take a very long time to upgrade because of the amount of materials required. So the strategy I'll be trying to implement for launch is initially find a very cheap set to upgrade purely for getting the magic find bonus at rank 5. They'll be able to be attained quite quickly, and that set of gems I'll use for farming when I'm looking for items, and then I'll be trying to collect the specific epic and perhaps rare gems of higher quality as possible. So, 4 or 5 stars hopefully. That's probably where the game's trying to make a fair bit of money to for people to pay for that content. by purchasing them through the market with orbs. And yeah, as quickly as you can essentially get the set of gems, because that's going to be the limiting factor at endgame. Once everyone is the max Paragon, they've max upgraded their gear, which is 16, level 16 I believe, then the only way that you can improve how you compete, perhaps in PvP content, is going to be your bonus abilities on the gear that you reforge, your charms, which are here, which can level up. And I believe, like, if I add the level for an item that is already on my charm, instead of replacing another ability, it then adds to that. So I've seen charms with, you know, multiple multipliers on the same ability. So, you know, perhaps plus 2 here, plus 3 here, plus 1 there, plus 4 there, and all abilities from their class. How that's actually done, I'll put in another video, but just wanted to demonstrate, as far as progression goes towards endgame, they are going to be the differences in the characters. So once everyone's reached a point where their gear's maxed, their Paragon's maxed, they've got whatever tier Paragon skills. So some character types might be better suited for Gladiator or Soldier active abilities. There's going to be a slight difference there. Of course, there's whichever abilities you actually choose, and the armor that adds effects to your abilities or changes the way they work. So as far as PV content goes, it looks like, providing the classes turn out to be relatively balanced, there'll be enough variety in how you can build a character, as support, as defense, as offense, for PvP content like Battlegrounds, that it may be fairly diverse. Even now, you know, people are feeling the difference in power levels between different characters. The people that have grinded a lot, I found simply really looking at what abilities I wanted for PvP versus PvE, just simply changing as a monk one skill made a massive difference in my PvP gameplay. So adding Shield of Zen to be able to prevent loss of control, because I was struggling but learning how to play, just that one simple change, and I was able to get MVP kills in the next battleground because I was surviving long enough to do the damage my character was designed to do. Since then, I've fully evaluated which skills that I think are valuable and useful in PvP, which most of which aren't that useful in PvE content, and yeah, just made it a hell of a lot easier. So just a quick recap: we have Paragon levels, Paragon abilities, gear rank, gear bonuses, and ultimately family tree bonuses, charms, and your abilities themselves. Equipment quality is another aspect as well, but in theory, as people are all max level, they should have relatively similar access to the quality of gear. As an example, I haven't spent a lot of time grinding my level, so the gear I've been finding has not been very good in replacing what I've got. I've got a decent main hand, but these can have 3 attributes: a decent chest, And some of my other levels, are they even? Yep, so they're all level 55 gear at least. But I've got single attribute items and quite low attribute items to boot. So you can see they can be 100 plus for my level, and mine is still quite low. So I'll see a significant increase in my power as I find better gear as I level up. It's quite low for having rank 11 gear. And I think I'll stop it there. Enjoy your game, and in the future I'll be doing more on deeper strategy, progression, guides for how to progress, where to spend your resources efficiently, and following that I'll probably jump in party chat with a few people that I play with to share our thoughts, for some developer feedback. I'll see you next time.